Okay. Have you ever found yourself just, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., completely unable to get back to sleep? Maybe you've tried counting sheep or white noise machines, all that stuff, just desperately trying to get a good night's rest. It's something so many of us deal with, right? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into something new. And it's surprisingly simple, actually. A potential way to sleep better that might be, well, right under your nose. Or maybe in your fridge.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, our plan here is to look at some really cutting-edge research. It connects what you eat during the day to how well you actually sleep, like that very night. And we're not just talking about feeling a bit less groggy. No, this is about significant, measurable improvements in sleep quality.
And the main source we're digging into is this fascinating new study. It was published in Sleep Health by researchers from University of Chicago Medicine and also Columbia University. We're also pulling in some related dietary guidelines. But this research, it feels like a potential game changer, bringing a fresh angle to, a really common problem. And speaking of that problem, when sleep goes wrong, it doesn't just make us tired, does it? The effects are, well, huge. It hits our cardiovascular health, metabolic health. It messes with memory, learning, how productive we are, mood regulation too, even relationships. It really gets into almost every part of life.
It absolutely does. And what's interesting is that traditionally a lot of the research focus has been on how lack of sleep affects diet, how being tired makes you crave junk food stuff higher in fat and sugar. But this new study, it brilliantly flips that around. It looks at how your diet actually influences your sleep patterns. And that side of the equation, looking at it with objective data, it's surprisingly less explored.
That's what grabbed me too, because we've seen those earlier studies, right? The ones hinting that, say, eating lots of fruits and vegetables was linked to people saying they slept better, self-reported stuff. But how did this new study get past what people just said? How did they get, objective data? That seems crucial.
That absolutely is. So to get that objective data, the researchers zeroed in on something called sleep fragmentation.
Mm-hmm.
You can think of it as a measure of like how often you wake up even for a short time or shift from deep sleep to lighter sleep during the night.
Yeah.
They had these healthy young adults track their food intake really carefully using an app. And then this is key. They wore wrist monitors, actigraphy monitors, to track their actual sleep patterns all night long. So yeah, not just a survey. Actual physiological measurements.
Right. Sleep fragmentation. That makes sense. It's not just about total hours in bed, but the quality, the consistency of that dup sleep. Okay, so they've got this objective data. What did they find? What was the big correlation they uncovered? And how fast did these effects show up? That part seems pretty wild.
Well, what they found was this really strong and pretty immediate correlation. Participants who ate more fruits and vegetables during the day, they tended to have deeper, less interrupted sleep, like that same night. And it wasn't only produce. People who eat more healthy carbs, think whole grains. They also showed, significant improvements in their sleep quality.
Wow. Okay, so you eat better today, you sleep better tonight within hours. That's remarkable. Just how significant are we talking? Can you sort of quantify that? Like, if someone's wondering if adding a few more veggies is really going to move the needle for them?
Yeah, put some numbers on it. So based on their findings, and they did some statistical modeling, the researchers estimate that people who hit the CDC recommendations, about 5 cups of fruits and veggies a day, they could see something like a 16% improvement in sleep quality compared to people eating, well, none. And Dr. Ezra Tassali, one of the senior authors from the U Chicago Sleep Center, she pointed out that 16% is a highly significant difference. And she also said it's remarkable that such a meaningful change could be observed within less than 24 hours. It suggests, an almost immediate effect on your sleep architecture.
16%. That sounds really promising. And honestly, pretty straightforward, right? Eat your veggies, sleep better. But are there any, nuances or limitations we should mention? Besides needing more research on why it works, any theories starting to form on the why?
That's a really good point. So while the correlation is strong and suggests these quick benefits, you're right. We need more studies to nail down the exact cause and effect and the mechanisms. But researchers are exploring a few ideas. One theory, for example, involves fiber. The fiber in fruits and veggies could support a healthy gut microbiome, and we're learning more and more about how the gut links to sleep-regulating chemicals like serotonin. Interesting. Another idea is about inflammation. Fruits and vegetables have antioxidants, anti-inflammatory properties. Maybe that reduces systemic inflammation, which can disrupt sleep. It could also tie into, better blood sugar control or even just the micronutrients these foods provide. Lots of possibilities.
Okay, so several potential pathways. Gut health, inflammation, blood sugar.
Exactly. But even with more research needed on the how, the current data is pretty confident in its advice. Regularly eating a diet rich in complex carbs, fruits, and vegetables seems best for long-term sleep health. Like Dr. Marie Pierre-Sinage over at Columbia Sleep Center put it. I thought this was great. She said, small changes can impact sleep. That is empowering. Better rest is within your control.
That really is empowering. So the next time you're tossing and turning or just thinking about improving your sleep generally, remember that a surprisingly powerful tool might just be waiting for you. Yeah, down in the produce aisle, no sheep counting required.
So think about it. What stands out to you about this simple connection, this link between your plate and your pillow? Could adding, those 5 cups of fruits and vegetables to your day, could that be the kind of gentle, natural shift your body's looking for to get truly restful nights?